The sun was setting over Cairo, and the Nile's water shimmered with golden light. Palm leaves rustled gently in the breeze along the riverbank. Senegal sat on a wooden bench, sketching the flow of the water in her notebook. Her blue silk dress glowed softly in the evening light. Azabo, surveying the site for a new bridge design, stopped when he noticed her. "Why do you look at the Nile like that?" he asked with a gentle smile. Senegal looked up, her deep brown eyes reflecting the sun's rays. "Because it never stays the same, just like promises." That single sentence stirred something unfamiliar in Azabo's heart. The next day, Azabo deliberately returned to the same spot, but Senegal wasn't there. That evening, he found her in a small but charming cafe in Cairo. This time she wasn't alone. A canvas sat before her as she painted. "We meet again. Maybe the Nile wanted it so," Azabo said. Senegal laughed. Maybe the city is just small." The city lights, car horns, and distant saxophone music blended into the backdrop of their evening. They spoke about their worlds. Senegal shared her dream of opening an art gallery, and Azabo spoke of his dreams of building bridges. One cool and fragrant evening after the rain by the Nile, Azabo took Senegal onto a small boat. "Senegal, promise me, no matter what time brings, we will never leave each other." Looking into his eyes, Senegal replied, "Azabo, this promise will be older than the Nile itself, and its flow will never stop." The ripples in the water seemed to carry their words safely away. Senegal's friend Layla often stayed with her at the gallery. But when Azabo visited, Layla's eyes changed. At times, she asked Azabo personal questions, laughed too much, making Senegal feel uneasy. Meanwhile, Kamari, a powerful businessman, also started visiting the gallery. He offered to sponsor Senegal's work, but his approach carried an unspoken pressure. One evening, Senegal saw a message from Layla on Azabo's phone. "Last night was very special. Can't wait to see you again." Senegal's hands trembled. Azabo tried to explain. "It's all a misunderstanding, But his words couldn't reach Senegal's ears. Senegal cut off contact with Azabo. She worked in the gallery, but sat alone by the Nile in the evenings. The city's crowds and music seemed colorless. Azabo came many times, but Senegal ignored him. Weeks later, Senegal discovered that Layla had sent that message intentionally. Together with Kamari, they wanted to separate Senegal and Azabo, one driven by jealousy, the other by greed. Senegal's heart was broken and filled with anger. One evening, Senegal stopped Azabo in the busy streets of Cairo. "It wasn't all your fault. I doubted you, and that was my weakness." Azabo took a deep breath. "I promised, but you didn't believe." Their hearts were wounded, but the conversation had begun. Night by the Nile, moonlight spreading over the water. Senegal stood there, afraid Azabo might not come. Azabo arrived, tired but hopeful. "This promise is broken, but maybe we can fix it," he said. Senegal reached out. Azabo took her hand firmly, but gently. Months later, a new gallery opened by the Nile. In golden letters above the door was written, "By the banks of the Nile, your promise." Senegal and Azabo stood there, knowing that love is like water. It needs both to keep flowing together. Senegal and Azabo's love, freed from past bitterness, was taking on a new color. On the gallery's opening day, their faces shone with peace and hope. Senegal saw her dream come true, and Azabo took the first step to fulfilling his promise. This was a new beginning, but both knew the path of love would not be easy. One day, Layla unexpectedly came to the gallery. Her eyes showed a mix of jealousy and regret. Senegal decided that forgiving the past was the only way forward. Azubo also explained that love can only survive on the foundation of forgiveness and trust. This moment strengthened their bond even more. Kamari started plotting against Azubo in the city's major projects. Azubo faced difficulties not only in work, but also in his personal life. Senegal encouraged Azubo and arranged an artistic exhibition at the gallery to show the city his strength. The power of love and faith gave them courage to fight the hardships. Azubo made a difficult decision to leave an important project and spend more time with Senegal. This sacrifice showed the depth of his love, but also put his career at risk. Senegal explained that they must find a balance together. This was a test of their relationship, but it made them stronger. Months later, Azubo completed a new bridge in the city, named Senegal Bridge. On the day of its inauguration by the Nile, they promised again that no matter what happens, they will always be together. This time the promise was not just words, but action. In the city lights, the flame of their love shone brightly and would never fade. Weeks after this Senegal Bridge inauguration, the city began to call it not just a bridge, but a bridge of dreams. Senegal often walked across it at sunset, feeling the wind carry the scent of the Nile. One evening, Azubo joined her. "Do you know why I built it here?" he asked. Senegal smiled. "Because it's the place where our story began." Azubo nodded. "And where it will always belong." They stood together, watching the water flow beneath, knowing that this bridge connected more than just two shores. It connected their hearts forever. Just as life seemed peaceful, rumors began to spread in the city, whispers that the Senegal Bridge was unsafe. Azubo knew it was a lie, another plot from Kamari, who had not given up his grudge. At the gallery, Senegal noticed fewer visitors as people feared the negative talk. But instead of panic, Senegal placed a painting of the bridge at the gallery's entrance with the words, "Strong like love, unbroken by lies." Her quiet defiance gave Azubo the strength to face the storm. Azubo decided to confront Kamari directly. They met in a rooftop cafe overlooking the city lights. "Kamari," Azubo said firmly, "you've tried to break my work and my life. But I stand here still stronger." Kamari smirked. "Strength doesn't last forever." Senegal stepped forward from the shadows, her voice steady. "But truth does. And we have it." That night, evidence of Kamari's corruption was sent anonymously to the city council. The tide was finally turning. With Kamari's downfall, the city planned a festival by the Nile to honor its artists and builders. Senegal's gallery was chosen to host the opening night, and Azubo was named the guest of honor. The evening shimmered with lanterns reflected in the water, drums beating in celebration. Azubo took Senegal's hand before the crowd. "This city gave us challenges, but also gave us each other. For that, I will always be grateful." The applause felt like the heartbeat of Cairo itself. Months later, on their wedding day, Senegal and Azubo returned to the bridge at dawn. The Nile was calm, the sky painted in soft gold. They walked to the middle, where the water's reflection danced below. Azubo whispered, "No matter how the river changes, my love will always flow to you." Senegal replied, "And mine to you, until the Nile forgets how to run." They sealed their promise with a kiss, the bridge standing strong beneath their feet, the city waking to a love that would never fade.